Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to Today in Bitcoin. Today is March 29th, 2017. And this is the home of cryptocurrency, straight talk, no fancy set of graphics, just information. And as you can see, popping in and out there is Gabriel. He's been on our This Week in Bitcoin show before, but now he's back to specifically talk about Venezuela. He is in Venezuela. Gabriel, welcome to the show.
Very much, Adam. I'm so glad to be back on your show. You know, we have lots of news in Venezuela.
Well, I want to ask you a question real quick. Are you in Caracas? What city are you in?
You know, I live 200 miles from Caracas. Yeah.
Okay. So there's so much talk about Venezuela and Bitcoin, about the hyperinflation and how people are using the Bitcoin to get around the hyperinflation, or if it's really even being used down there or not. And rarely, and I don't know if this has ever been done on any other Bitcoin channel before, does a person that is actually in Venezuela who knows about Bitcoin reports back to the rest of the world what is really going on there. So my first simple question is, what is going on with Bitcoin in Venezuela? What is going on with Venezuela right now?
Yes, I must say, we have a very active community of Bitcoin here. You know, it started around 2.5 years ago, okay? And just 1 year ago, it really exploded and went away. Many millions of Venezuelans fled the country because of economic turmoil. They were scared, you know, and they decided to go live elsewhere. So around 2 million people left last year. So it boomed Bitcoin for us. So we went from having maybe 1 Bitcoin or 2 traded on local Bitcoins 2.5 years ago to having over 500 Bitcoins traded in 10 days, in 14 days, you know, has grown exponentially.
And this is because of people who have left the country are sending Bitcoin back into the country, you think, or what do you think that's because of?
Yes, that's a very good question. I would say it's from 2 factors. Factor 1, the people from outside sending coins to their relatives, and the second factor will be the people that are mining altcoins and are mining Bitcoin.
All right. Now we're gonna get into that mining altcoin subject very soon, because you brought that up on the other show, and that is a very interesting thing. How dangerous is it for people to own Bitcoin there? Is it illegal? What happens if someone's caught?
No, it's not illegal. It's not illegal at all. You know, there has been rumors and stuff, but nowadays it's not illegal, because in our law, in Venezuelan laws, something to be illegal, it has to be written in the law said that it's illegal. So here there is no specific law saying that Bitcoin is illegal. So therefore it's completely legal.
All right. Now you said a lot of Venezuelans have left the country. Why don't you leave the country? Why are you sticking around?
Yeah, that's a good question, buddy. You know, when I found out about cryptocurrencies, it was my savings, you know, all my savings, because the cryptocurrency helped me grow here in Venezuela. And I could find my means to live here by doing cryptocurrency, you know, by mining and by trading and by receiving coins, Bitcoins and other coins for doing stuff for other people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this makes you want to stay. Yeah, cryptocurrency is making you want to stay. That's quite a story, actually. I mean, because
when you learn about Bitcoin, then you see that there's so many opportunities, because this is special, because we have capital controls, okay? We have hyperinflation, and we have people who love the internet and everything that's new. This the best mixture in the world for cryptocurrencies to thrive.
I mean, that you've got quite a positive attitude to have when you are living through real hyperinflation. Now we hear all these doom and gloom people predicting hyperinflation for the United States one day. Tell us what real hyperinflation is like, though. What has it done to your country?
It's very hard to have enough money, because the things ramp up, the prices ramp up very rapidly, okay? But then when you keep on working, you charge new price, and then you have enough for the new prices to get stuff, you know? It climbs very fast. When things go up, everyone charges more money for their jobs. So it's relative, you know, it's like it's scaling up really quickly. That's the thing, it's really, really quick. So sometimes if you save 1 month's salary, next month can be worth half. So you better spend it right away. It keeps moving very fast. There's a lot of mobility in the currency, but the prices keep going up and up and up.
And so the prices are listed in the Venezuelan Boulevard, right? That's what prices are listed.
That's right.
Okay, so you've got some Bitcoin. You want to go buy some food. What have you been doing? Have you been selling your Bitcoin on the streets for boulevards to buy food, or how do you buy food?
No, for instance, I buy food with bolívares, okay? I buy food with bolívares on the street, okay, with cash. That's where you find your main sources like rice, like flour, you know, like maize flour and all that. You can find it on the streets. People sell it on the streets. It's very easy to find. You just have to have, that's all it takes.
They want boulevards. They'll take will they take dollars?
Yeah, they won't take dollars.
They won't take dollars. So, okay, now you're earning an income with Bitcoin, correct?
Yes, that's right.
So there has to be a point because people are not, well, are people accepting Bitcoin? Have you been able to, you know, send your Bitcoin to other people in Venezuela to buy stuff?
Of course, look, here is a very practical use for Bitcoin because let's say, for example, I want to buy hardware for PC, okay? I want to buy a motherboard, let's say. So if I have bolívares, how can I buy a motherboard elsewhere? I can't buy dollars. I don't have a bank account. Most people don't have a bank account in the United States or elsewhere. So you can't buy things outside and neither on the internet. But when you, with your bolívares, you buy your Bitcoin, and then with your Bitcoin, you can buy anything you want on the internet. So for us, it's a very practical use.
So buying stuff on the internet with Bitcoin is possible, is what you're saying, and it gets delivered to you. That's still working. That part of the country is still working. Where if you order something online, you're going to receive it. Okay, that is important. Of course.
That's working. Important. Most things work. Most things work. It's just it sometimes can be tricky, but most things work.
Well, this is something people don't know because people hear about there's a lot of crime there on the street now. Have you noticed an increase in crime?
Well, what I have been noticing, it's an increase in the people that are robbers. They're fighting with the police very hard. So every time they find each other, they fight with shotguns, and they get killed a lot. Okay. So they're been dying. The bad people have been dying lately more than the good people.
Okay, well that's interesting. A little bit of a street warfare between the police and the people. Now, you say there's the Bitcoin community there. Do you guys ever meet? Do you ever have meetups together, or is it more?
No, okay, so it's not happening at the moment. It's not happening. There's no meetings, no public meetings for the moment. But there have been some, very few, very scarce, but it's there. It's just they are scared. They are still scared. So that's one of the main reasons. Yes?
No, keep going, sorry.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons that I want to speak out about Venezuela and the Bitcoin, is that people need to come to the light, okay? You don't have to be afraid anymore, okay? You're not doing anything bad. Nothing but helping your country, okay? Because if you receive money from outside, okay, and you trade it in for bolívares, you receive Bitcoin, you trade it in for bolívares. Now you have more money to spend and more things move. And if you are, for example, mining cryptocurrencies, you're creating wealth for you and your country. So I don't see anything wrong with the Bitcoin in Venezuela. The only thing is when people don't know enough. So sometimes the governments have to learn, and their learning curve can be slower than ours.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Governments are very, very slow. I want to know, I think people are curious, what is your background? Do you have a technical background? What did you go to college for? And what is it? What's your
That's a good
official
question.
and what's your official job, I guess?
Yes, well, my official job is cryptocurrencies, all about cryptocurrencies. That's my official job. But I do have a university background. I graduated like 7 years ago, business administration, okay, here in Venezuela. Good. And before that, I was very good a handyman, with anything have to do with tools and making stuff. And also, I have been also very dedicated to the music industry. Well, not industry, but my music here. And I had rock bands when I was younger. I was very much going to the beach and surfing. So you can say I'm a musician, surfer, and a Bitcoiner.
That is
Living
really
in Venezuela.
you're a man about the world. That it's awesome. Now I want to. So what Bitcoin has done to you? Here's the question. Your country's going through a horrible economic crisis that none of us can really imagine here.
Yes.
But yet,
Well,
because you're in Bitcoin, though, my question is, because you're in Bitcoin, does it not matter to you? I mean, is it like the world is just fine for you? I mean, has Bitcoin saved you from this situation, basically?
yes. Yeah, because of that, I feel free. I feel free, completely liberated from I feel completely liberated from the oppressors of the fiat trading and everything that has to do with that.
I mean, this is
It completely changed my life, bro. 1 year ago, 1.5 years ago, it changed my life. Mining, I finally had free time for thinking about things, and keep learning, and changed my life completely.
Well, this is the thing. We have people from Venezuela who watch these videos, you being one of them, but you've encountered a few of them. I mean, there's at least like 3 or 4 or 5 that have actually spoken up. So I think you're serving as a great example to anyone who might be watching, that even though times are bad down there, that you can use Bitcoin to create a normal life, just as if everything was the same, because you have no desire to leave the country even. I mean, it's amazing.
Yes, that's right. It comes in your life when you have a set in your mind. You have to have a mindset. Governments anywhere can be bad. The weather is always going to change. Life is going to go on. You can't be complaining about your own situation. You cannot be blaming the country, the neighbors, your parents, or whoever. You have to take responsibility for yourself. So that's what I've done. For myself, and I build myself around this.
It's very impressive.
Don't like complaining.
No, it's
don't like complaining.
I'm very impressed, and I want to, with the government and what they're doing. Obviously, their monetary policy is something out of a nightmare.
Perfect.
How long is the government going to last? Do you have a prediction for that? When is this going to end?
Officially, yes. Officially, I can tell you until the 2019 election for the presidency. So we have to wait. There's no wasting our time. It was 2 years ahead of us.
Well, here again, a question on that is, between now and 2019, do you think it is possible that the people will have a revolution, or is just everything set in its way?
Look, this subject can be very tricky. Okay? I will tell you that. No, I can tell you.
I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble or anything like that.
You won't get in trouble. The thing is that governments get their chance. Okay, this guy that is in power, he got elected. Okay, a few years back, and still has some years to come. So we have to wait until his period finishes, and that's it. We have to let him do his job, whatever he's gonna do, and we have to demand for the government to be good. That's always. And governments are governments everywhere. They can be bad anywhere. They can be good. Some things are good, some things are bad. There's always out with another thing. Okay, so that's why I'm positive about this, because we have great weather, we have cheap electricity, we have beautiful women, we have good food, and we enjoy our life here. And there's no better place to use Bitcoin but Venezuela, because we have capital controls. It's perfect.
Now,
it's even better. You know, it's perfect practical use.
This is so. A question with that is, so there are some beautiful aspects of Venezuela, obviously, that you just covered. Are foreigners still entering the country? Because I heard it was very difficult.
No. The foreigners stopped coming a few years back. It used to be, it used to be a lot of people. You see people from all over the world. But I would say the last 10 years, that has dropped, and the last 4 years, only people who are very, he wants a big adventure, a real big adventure, and then they come here, They know what's going to happen, and it can be completely different. You can't come. But, normal backpackers or, normal people, they would rather go to, elsewhere. That's safer.
Yeah, I can understand. So that's interesting. So money isn't coming in.
But that's going to change. That is going to change in the future.
Well, hopefully
I'm sure of that.
Hopefully there'll be Bitcoin tourism soon. So going back to more Bitcoin, tell us about the exchange situation there. Anything you can tell us if there's going to be an exchange?
That has been, the local Bitcoins is our best choice for the moment. Okay, peer-to-peer is our only choice for the moment. Okay, we had one exchange that has not reopened their fiat operations, and we have another exchange that is not up, and there's rumors of another exchange opening. But for the moment, there's only local Bitcoins, which, now that we're talking about that, I wanted to tell you, the trading volume has ramped up again. Since last time we spoke, it was below 500. Now it's above 500, 555 Bitcoins per week, So it's been growing huge every day. More people get into this.
So I have a question about that. What is the going rate there? Does it cost more to buy a Bitcoin in Venezuela than it does in the United States?
Yes, last week it was very, very, very important, because the Bitcoin price stayed solid in 4 million bolivares, stayed solid, didn't move a bit. While in dollars, it changed dramatically, but in bolivares stayed. And there's another fact, the dark market rate for dollars, the last 2 weeks, the bolivar gained strength. So you would get 2,800 bolivares for $1, okay? But you will get, in Bitcoin, you will get 4,000 bolivares, okay? So there was a big difference. So you would pay an extra, let's say, almost $1,500 for one Bitcoin in bolivares. That was 2 weeks ago. This week, now it's changing again, okay? Now it's more even. Stayed solid in Bitcoin price, 4 million, and now the bolivar is dropping again. So the market is rising, and it's closing to 3,300 bolivares.
Wow. So I mean, there is quite a demand for Bitcoin. If people are paying this much more in your country than in the United States, there's quite a premium. Yes. I want to remind all our live viewers. We got quite a few live viewers. Please like this video, pound that like button, people, share it so other people come out, and you're only going to get this type of video here. Again, I don't know anyone else that's interviewing Bitcoin people in Venezuela. We hear people talking about Venezuela and Bitcoin all the time, but they're not even from Venezuela. They're just writing theoretical stuff. This is the real deal right here. And one day, hopefully we will meet in person, and I will be there on the beach with you.
Of course. Yes, of course you will.
Oh man, the way you describe.
I bet we will. Yes.
I enjoy the beaches, beautiful women. Those are nice sceneries, and more people should go down there once things calm down, hopefully, and maybe there'll be Bitcoin tourism. So let's let's go into something you said specifically about the low-cost electric that allows some mining. And you actually brought this up on another video of mine when you were here before.
Yeah.
And somebody asked, since it's state-owned electricity, since they control it, they can't detect when people are mining, using their electricity for mining and kind of keep track of these things, or are they not that advanced?
No, listen, the company, it's true, it belongs to government, but they will sell you electricity, no problem, okay? Some houses have meters, some houses don't. Some factories, most factories have meters, and what happens is that a lot of people in Venezuela don't pay electricity at all. They have meters, they're, wild connections, you can call it. Okay, so the rest of the population that do live in proper buildings and proper houses, they do have to pay, and they pay for the ones that don't pay. And even though that the electricity bill is still subsidized by the government, because the government wants to be good with the people and they charge little. But what happens when the service goes, okay, it's not so service, it interrupts, there can be failures, but it's very cheap. So even if you are mining like in a factory or whatever, if you are paying your bill, it's okay, because you are paying your bill. If you're not paying your bill, now that's not good. I don't support that.
No. So I have a question about segregated witness and all of that. You obviously have an opinion about segregated witness, but there's some people who don't like segregated witness who are like, Bitcoin is broken now. It's broken now. Does anyone in your country even know about this kind of thing? There's this debate going on. It doesn't seem like it's broken to me that people would think it's broken in Venezuela.
I think people really don't care if it's broken or not broken. Some people do know about the debate, the scaling debate. Most people know, okay? As long as we can still use it, it's still valuable for us. So as long as we can keep continuing using Bitcoin, if a time comes that crashes, you're going to have to take responsibility if you were holding Bitcoins or not, whatever you want to do. Most of the people, I think, they sell their Bitcoins and they just trade them, okay? They trade them for goods and they sell them. I don't think most of the people hold a lot of Bitcoins in Venezuela. I think most people hold a little bit of Bitcoin, maybe 0.3, 0.5, maybe 1 Bitcoin. And then most of the people that use it, they just use it as means of exchange. Like they receive Bitcoin for something and then they spend it right away. So when you're doing transfers and stuff like that, it doesn't really matter what the price is. So if there comes a hard fork and the price drops to 300, you can still use it for what we use it. So I think we'll be all right. A hard fork happens.
Yeah, it's not, for you guys, it's not broken at all. Everything's fine. I have a question about the altcoin mining that we referenced beforehand. What type of altcoins are being mined there? And how many altcoin miners do you think are actually in your country? How big of a deal is this thing? And are you mining altcoins?
This is a big deal here, buddy. This is a big, big deal. I'm talking to you about millions of dollars being invested into this, okay? There is, of course, the little guy. There are many, many little guys who have maybe 1 rig, maybe 2 rigs. You can count that by thousands, okay? There's thousands of people that have a little bit of equipment, okay? And it has been growing. It has been growing because the smartest way at the moment for mining in a small operation like your bedroom or your house is much nicer, to have a rig which you can use for mining Ethereum Classic or Zeta Cash, Ethereum, or whatever you want to mine. not noisy, you know, like the end miners. And that would not bother your neighbors and won't notice the police and whatever, you know. It's more simple, profitable, you know. It's more profitable, you know. That's why people are using rigs in Caracas, you know. There's thousands of people doing this, thousands, and they trade their altcoins, you know, for other altcoins. Are very, very wise here. They trade for different altcoins too. They don't only stick with Bitcoin. No, whatever is going to make them more money, you know.
Okay,
they can hold
what
Bitcoin, they can trust Bitcoin. Yes.
What altcoins? So you mentioned specifically Ethereum Classic and Ethereum. Are there any other ones that are commonly being mined there?
I would say Zcash.
Okay, Zcash, yeah. So when also another thing. So this is a very interesting topic because you're saying they're mining these coins and then selling them for Bitcoin. Does anyone out there, would they be willing to barter your Ethereum? You give them Ethereum straight up, and they would let you buy a computer or something like that. Would you think people would?
Yet.
Okay. So it
Not
still
yet.
has to go through Bitcoin still, you're saying? It still has to go through Bitcoin.
Yes. But you know, that's a very interesting point, because what I've been seeing that's going on in the Bitcoin world and the other cryptocurrencies, you know, you see now that Ethereum has a lot of market share, you know, and mining wise, it's to mine Ethereum than mining Bitcoin. That, along with the scaling debate, can contribute to make other cryptocurrencies even stronger. So, you know, that's a thing that I've been seeing the last week, because, you know, all that scaling debate, but now we're seeing different options that are coming up, like your yesterday show with the guy of the Bitcoin Classic, you know?
Yeah.
But as long as we don't fork, we will be happy. And as we can mine altcoins and trade them for Bitcoin, we will be happy.
All right, now I've got I'm talking to the chat room here too. They might have some questions, but here's one that I know someone had sent me before. You and I discussed it briefly. I just wanted you to cover this. The Breitbart article, which I linked to below, where it said Venezuelans are using rare Pepes as currency. Have you heard anything about that?
Yes, I heard of it today. Also, I read the article a few hours ago, and I was very amazed, you know, and seeing how people are so creative. They start using this to a means of having more money, you know. You have to figure a way to get more money. That's the only thing we can do here. So I'm very proud of someone that's making money in a creative way.
So you're very entrepreneurial. Another thing people always like to find out is, do you actually own any other altcoins? But I mean, you obviously have Bitcoin, but do you have any altcoins yourself personally?
Also, besides Bitcoin, I only hold Ethereum.
Okay, so just you keep it pretty simple then.
The moment.
Yeah, well, no, that's good. I think that's good. But people always like, what's the guy's portfolio? And what's your price? Do you have a price prediction for Bitcoin for the end of the year and maybe by 2020? Do you have any dreams?
Okay, well, before January, I was thinking about 2,800 for the end of the year. But you know, with all these issues, maybe 1,700, 1,800, maybe.
Okay, and here's a question from the audience actually. What kind of people are buying Bitcoin from you? Young guys, rich guys?
What?
Someone's wondering what kind of people are buying Bitcoin.
In the 30s, people in the 30s, people in the late 20s.
And so just regular middle class guys then, regular guys. Okay, so you actually have some things that you wanted to share also. I know you haven't been able to share everything. So I know you have some stuff written down there. Please tell us what we all need to know, what we need to know about Venezuela, about anything.
Look, I want two things. You know, I want to talk to you about the practical experiences, okay, of Bitcoin versus Visa. A use case that I experienced myself. You know, I bought the other day something, a PC hardware, and I paid with Bitcoin, and it was instantly hours to confirm or anything, and I received my product 3 days later. But I paid with Visa, you know, and someone called and said, no, that I don't know of that thing. And then they eliminated the card and I have to wait for another card. Okay? So the use cases, even nowadays, and faster to pay things online with Bitcoin instead of with Visa or any other way to pay, you know? That's one of the things I wanted to point out.
You're basically saying Visa doesn't want to do business with people in Venezuela. They're very suspicious of people.
No, definitely. I could do it because I had a card from the United States bank, but regular people don't get American account banks, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, that's
having the Visa from the United States, it doesn't work very good. You know, Bitcoin is better for online purchasing.
So yeah,
that's what I wanted to say. And
no, it's a great use case for Bitcoin. It is Bitcoin is already your personal bank. It can be anyone in Venezuela's personal bank. Bitcoin can already serve that purpose. Okay, sorry, I interrupted. Continue, please continue.
Yes. So one of the last things I wanted to say, it was, you know, about the proposals that I want to bring to the Venezuelan crypto community. Okay. Now, if we set up like a national registry of miners, okay, in which we come together, you know, and we say, hello, we are here. We want to do this business. Okay, maybe we can work something out. Let's fill in some papers. Let's do what we can do together. Let's help. Let's contribute to the community instead of being scared or weary and all that. Let's come forward. Okay, let's come forward. I know the government is going to understand this is beneficial for the government, even. It's beneficial for everyone. That's one of the things. So we can propose a special electricity price for the miners. You know, we can contribute more because we make so much money with mining. You know, we can help more. So if we make more money, good. The government makes more money, and the electric company makes more money, and everyone makes more money. You know? So, and I want to help forth related businesses also, you know, to have contacts with the government so that every business that wants to do stuff with Bitcoin related stuff, you know, and they can be tracked and they can work and they can contribute honestly to the society.
That's good. I worry about creating a list because then the government could do something bad to everyone also. But here's a question, and but it's good you're trying to organize. And I am very impressed. If there are that many altcoin miners out there, I mean, this might be per capita. Venezuela is probably one of the biggest maybe altcoin mining countries on earth. Then
that's right. That's right.
This is something people do. I mean, but it's hard to prove because you're semi-anonymous. All the people. I'm actually writing that down now. Here, someone asked, what got you interested in Bitcoin at first? Did you just luckily stumble upon it? When was the first time you heard about Bitcoin?
Well, I heard about it, you know, when I was investigating about how the money works, how the monetary system works. Where does money come from? That was my initial question. How come, okay, banks are always the biggest building in the city? Everybody owns the bank. The family owns the bank. You know, the businesses owns to the bank, and the governments owe to the bank. What's going on there? You know, that was my first question. Started investigating more on how the monetary system works, what happened in the 1800s, what happened in 1913 with the Federal Reserve, what happened with the system, how it's set up, the fiduciary and they have to have a little reserve they have in the bank so they can create money out of thin air. You know, I think that was me very mad, and I wanted a way out of that corrupt system. And that has been my journey now.
Well, and when did you buy your first Bitcoin, and how did you actually buy it?
Sorry, couldn't hear that.
Oh yeah, when did you actually buy your first Bitcoin, and how did you go about buying it?
Yes. Yes. I sold a car that I had. I sold my car, and I bought around 3 Bitcoin that time. 4 Bitcoin. And
what year was that in? What year was that in? Do you remember?
It was around months from now, around 13 months from now, like in the beginning of 2016.
Wow, so this has been a quick journey for you then. You've been hardcore into this since only 2016. That's not that long, but that's good. That's great. You've really jumped into this. Here's a specific question. If you order electronics from the USA, can you sell it in Venezuela for a much higher price?
Of course. Of course, you can do that.
Okay. That's we'll leave that one at that. So is there anything else that you wanted to because you wanted to organize the altcoin miners? Anything else?
Yes, well, I would like to send all the community to come forward, to not to be scared. Let's join together and work out with the government benefit of everyone.
Very, very good. Very good. Okay, I think we can close it with that. I really think this has been a great learning experience for anyone out there. Is there a way people can contact you? Do you want? I mean, do you want to hear from? I mean, obviously you want to hear from other Venezuelans, but maybe some people outside have the country have some ideas too. Is there a way to email them, to contact you, or should they contact me and I can then just contact you? Or
sure, we can do both. But basically, if someone wants to talk to me, I think through the YouTube channel, they can write me a message or find my email, right? Whoever wants to contact me, or if it's special who talks to you and wants to talk to me, you talk to me, I'm ready. I'm ready for anything.
Okay, very, very good. I will because you do have that YouTube. Yeah, you have your YouTube. Obviously, you comment all the time and stuff. So I'll list your YouTube channel, and people can try to hook up with you that way. If they can't, they can contact me, and I will get them in touch. Well, again, Gabriel down in Venezuela, this has been an amazing interview, and I know people are really happy over there in the chat. Remember, like this video, guys. So thanks for being on today, Gabriel. You still there? Thank you very much for everything. So everyone, I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video. Gabriel and I will probably both be in the chat right after this. We'll talk to you later. Check out the notes section below. See ya.